Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't try growing corn again this year, because it is a huge, huge consumer of water. And then the problem is the tassel and the...
Well, the heat was not this summer, but the summer before when we did grow corn, we had it had 105-degree weather forever, and it screwed up the corn.
Yeah, so what you ended up with is you ended up with pollen at the wrong time.
Yes.
So you had all the silk coming out. You didn't have any pollen available.
Mm-hmm.
And then the silk had died back, and now you had pollen.
Right. Well, it was out of order, so we got
a little
bit of corn, but it certainly was not worth the amount of fertilizer. It was not worth the amount of water or the amount of effort just to keep it weeded, because that bed had been grassy when we started, and I really did work very hard to keep that corn, weeded out, but it wasn't worth it. So this year I really worked hard to keep the grass and stuff out. There's only one section in the center that wound up weedy just at the end, but the rest of the summer I was able to keep it pretty well under control.
Now, apart from the French fingerling potatoes, which other varieties do you think we ought to grow next year?
I don't know. We have to do taste tests on a couple of the other ones. I know what a red Norland tastes like.
Yeah, that's
a supermarket tomato to me. Although as a new
potato, not a tomato.
But it's a supermarket potato. You can get it in any supermarket, the same way as you can get Kennebec White in any supermarket. That's what a significant number of your Idaho potatoes are. They're a Kennebec.
Except for the russets.
Except for the russets.
Yeah,
I would probably look at... I want to see what the German butterball tastes like. It has a good reputation and a great description. It's a funky looking potato. It's big and ugly and lumpy.
Yeah. That was the only potato that we had split in the ground.
Yeah,
so
there were a couple that split in there. So that was kind of weird. The Austrian crescents, I really want to taste them. I know I've grown them before because I recognize the name. Well, I shouldn't say that. We grew some crescent potatoes from Johnny's years ago. I don't remember if they were Austrian. They may have also been Russian. There's Russian, French, everybody's got their crescents. So we still need to taste test these. The Yukon Gold new potatoes are superb. There's no doubt about that. And it might be worth growing some new Yukon Gold just for new potatoes, because they charge a fortune for the new potatoes at the grocery store here, and a lot of times they're pretty crappy. But what I would do...
How do they taste? We were talking about Yukon Gold.
Yes.
And they're really expensive.
They're very expensive, and the quality in the grocery store is questionable sometimes. What I would probably do, I have to look at the quantities. One of the problems when you buy seed potatoes from a supplier is they won't sell you a pound. You have to buy
10 pounds.
5 or 10. Yeah. Usually 10. So if you're going to commit to that quantity, you have to say, well, I really gotta have to like that. And maybe I even want to stagger the production. So maybe I want to plant 2 or 3 pots now and keep the rest in the fridge and plant them a month later or something like that. There's only 2 of us. We do not have a root cellar.
Yeah, now we have 45 pounds more or less in the kitchen right now.
Of potatoes.
Which means we're not going to be able to store all of those in a fashion that allows us to eat them kind of fresh. Mm-hmm. So we're going to end up canning a bunch of them.
Yeah, we'll can a bunch of them. The potatoes we grew today had almost no bug damage.
Yeah, that's a big difference from the other bed that we harvested.
Yeah, I really did work very hard to spray that bed with water and nematodes this spring. And I thought I'd done a good job with the other bed too. And because we had water issues early this spring, coyotes are back.
Yeah, they've moved about 300 yards
that way.
south.
They're not usually running in the middle of the day. I mean, I know it's just before dusk, but still, it's still a little early for them. But yeah, I don't leave Isa outside by herself when.
We don't leave anybody outside by themselves, including I prefer not to be outside the fence when they're running like that because they're running in packs.
Right.
And there's anywhere from 3 to 5, 6, 7 coyotes, and they do hunt as a pack.
Anyway, we do need to taste test some of the other ones, and we know what Yukon Gold, Red Norland, and Kennebec White taste like. That's a no-brainer. We've already tasted the Adirondack Blue and the French Fingerling. And we know the Adirondack Blue was very good, but we will definitely grow French Fingerling, assuming we can get it. Viking potatoes, we'll see. Yukon Gold, we'll see. If I were going to grow Yukon Gold, I would probably actually pick up some organic potatoes at the grocery store and just chit a couple of potatoes and
be done with it.
Grow a bucket or something like that, just so you could get some fresh ones. They are widely available in the grocery store potatoes, so unless you have a way to store them or something else, and we always have to consider water use here.
Yeah, water use is the big issue for us, without a doubt.
Right.
And the other thing is, organic matter is so difficult to get here to amend the soil that that's going to be an issue. So we don't have more beds.
If you're willing to spend unlimited quantities of money, you can get the organic matter. The garden centers that we have talked to about their quote-unquote mulch, it has been trash. It has been trash. I could get mulch that good from the county. I don't want that kind of stuff in my garden beds.
Well,
not to mention, you don't know what it is they ground up.
Yeah, well, that's my concern with all of this, quote, compost, unless it's been someplace that's been really processed well, is that they have plastic.
Oh yeah, there's chunks of plastic in there. I have visions of, poison oak and everything else going in there.
No.
And then you're putting out the mulch, and somewhere along the line you scratch your face, and you're in trouble. So I'm just skeptical.
I really think that just choosing to plant some of our plants in buckets in the greenhouse means that we can start them earlier than we would be able to outside.
So if we were to get potatoes, and like we did this year, we planted the early two buckets of Adirondack Blues in March. Our last date of frost is like not reliable until the end of May, the beginning of June.
Yeah.
So we were able to get those guys in, and we actually harvested the first bucket of Adirondack Blues at the May 31st, and then we did the second one the next month in June, about halfway through the month. So that let us have potatoes perfectly.
Fresh really
potatoes.
Great potatoes.
It was a great way of staggering things. So we have to do some juggling on this one. It's taste test time. So we have known examples of 7 of the 8 potato varieties that we grew. And the ones we know we've tasted before is this guy, which is blue Adirondack. And you can see how blue he is. He fell apart. Still a very good potato.
I'm going to sneak in here and grab a piece.
Mm-hmm. And this is French Fingerling, which we also loved. A very good potato. This should be Austrian Crescent. It's a guess on our part, but it looks like the picture. And for all you seed sellers out there, here's a perennial annoyance piece for people who buy your seeds. If you give us a selection of something like seed potatoes and you throw them all into a bucket and say, here's your seed potatoes, we will growl a lot because it means we have to go to your blasted website and try and compare little potatoes like that to the lovely giant potato pictures you have there. So don't tick us off like that.
You have a bit of that one?
Yeah, definitely a different flavor. It's a good flavor. I actually think that would make spectacular potato salad. Tastes a lot like a russet does in terms of...
It does.
In fact, that's actually what they're known for, you know. It's potato salad. This should be a red Norland. So I'll chop him in half. For some reason, he's hotter than the other guys. That's funny. Red Norland are always a red Norland. I mean, you know, they're a good potato.
Nothing special.
No, they're nothing special. If people really wanted to make gardeners happy, they would let them choose their own samplers, but they don't let you do that. Ever. I've never seen anybody let you do that. Because people would pick the exotics, I'm sure, and ignore things like red Norland.
Don't pack up.
I won't. Ooh, that's warm. I don't know. Pretty sure that this one is Yukon Gold.
This one right
Yes.
here?
Yeah, that's Yukon Gold for sure. It's got that Yukon Gold taste. That's the only way to describe it.
Yep. Very distinctive.
This should be Viking. I have no idea what the characteristics of Viking are. I guess I'm ready to find out. Plenty to drink of water. Potatoes without butter. It's gonna be a little dry.
Well, it keeps from hiding the flavor.
I'm not complaining about that. I just need a drink of water. I was being over potatoed.
Interesting.
It's got a great texture. It gives me the feeling that it would make a great mash.
I think it would make a fabulous mashed potato.
But you'd have to add some flavor to it. It would need salt and cream and butter because it's a very bland carrier.
I can do that.
I know you can. We have the technology.
Here comes the big one.
Yep, and this was, what did I tell you, German butterball. These are the biggest potatoes we actually grew. We didn't get any of the Kennebecs that we can tell at least. But we know what Kennebecs taste like. We actually have grown Kennebecs here before. With lousy success, to be honest. They don't seem to like this area, which doesn't shock me. What people say about the German butterball is that they're so buttery you don't need to put...
I don't think so.
No, I think they're a good potato. No off flavors or anything. I do not find them buttery. Is it possible this could be something else? Yeah, but I don't know what it would be. So, the flavor, in the picture, it shows the flesh being darker than this, and yellower, you know. But I don't know what else it could be besides this. So what would I grow next year?
French fingerlings.
Well, there's one vote. Yeah, the French fingerlings really are stellar. They are just really a good potato. You know, they all have their place. The whole thing, the big question you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to use them for? And how many of them do you need? You know what I mean? So, I think...
What we have.
more than what we have. Well, I think that, as we discussed earlier, I think the big answer for us is that we need to grow them in pots. And as much as possible, we probably need to stagger the harvest. In other words, maybe plant 2 pots at a time, and then wait a couple of weeks, and then, or a month, and plant 2 more pots. The hard part is, where do you get the seed potatoes from, and how do you keep them for that long a time? So if you ordered seed potatoes, you'd have to plant the ones that were most sprouted first, and then try and keep them in the fridge. Friends in Great Britain don't seem to have a hard time getting seed potatoes at any time of year, but they are noticeably not particularly available in the United States. And I do know people, and we've done it ourselves, where you go buy organic potatoes and then you just use those. The perfect thing is if you had a friend who worked in a grocery store that could get you any organic potatoes that had started to sprout. Time for dinner. Okay.